Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for yet another daily talk of stock. And it is Wednesday, June 18th. And when we look at the heat map, we could see an overall 50-50 day. To be exact, we had 49.9% in the gaining category. And so basically just a market flip in the markets today, some plays being in the green, some plays being in the red, but overall most plays were in the green this morning, but a lot did trail off into the red, and that was because of the news around the FOMC and Jerome Powell. And so what did Jerome Powell have to say?
As long as we're seeing the kind of labor market that we have and reasonably decent growth and inflation moving down, we feel like the right thing to do is to be where we are, where our policy stance is, and just learn more. And in particular, we feel like we're going to learn a great deal more over the summer on tariffs. We hadn't expected them to show up much by now, and they haven't. And we will see whether to the extent to which they do over coming months. And I think that's going to inform our thinking, for one thing. In addition, we'll see how the labor market progresses. So at some point it will become clear. I can't tell you exactly when that will be.
And so essentially what that is saying is the Federal Reserve is going to do exactly what has been expected from them, and that is they are continuing their pause on the interest rates. And so to no surprise, the markets did have a little bit of short-term fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Again, the markets did start off very green today, and then as we got closer to that meeting, there was a bit of a sell-off, but still a positive day overall, because we could see on both the major indexes, they did still finish within the green. And this just continues the strong recovery that we have been seeing in the markets. And so there has been a lot of strength with this recovery, nothing looking like it's going to knock us down. And overall, investors right now sitting right in the level of neutrality. So right at neutral, a 54 reading on the fear and greed index, some feeling a bit bullish, others feeling a little bearish. But overall, looking at the major indexes, we are getting close to being at those highs that were set before the big drop off right around Inauguration Day. So some very exciting times within the market. And so with that being said, we're going to talk about some big news today. We're going to be covering a stock today that has seen 500% return on investment this last month, and that is CRCL Internet Group. This stock up 36% today, up to $204. And this is significant because when we zoom out, this stock is still fairly new. They just had an initial public offering at $31 not long ago. And so this investment right here already providing a return on investment upwards of a 7x for investors that got in early. So massive return on investment around this stock. And so if you don't know what CRCL Internet Group is, well, it is pretty significant what is happening. And I must be honest here, myself, I have not participated in any of the gains with CRCL Internet Group. I try to stay very in tune with the markets. I do my research every day. I make my videos every day, but even then, some things will still pass us. And this one did unfortunately pass me. And so they did have their initial public offering recently, but as you can see here, there is history being made. And why is that? Well, the Senate just passed a bill that would establish a federal framework for dollar-backed cryptocurrencies known as stable coins. And so this company right here, CRCL Internet Group, is who created the stable coin of US dollar coin. And so this is huge right here, and having this legislation pass is going to be big for stable coins, because now it is going to make it easier for companies and individuals to transfer currency through cryptocurrency, which is a big purpose and utility behind cryptocurrency. And so up to this point, there has been some regulations and some gray area when it comes to the crypto market and stable coins. And so because of that, some individuals may not want to transfer or exchange money through these cryptocurrencies, but now we could see that the path is becoming more clear for those cryptocurrencies and for those stable coins. So some massive news when it comes to cryptocurrency and stable coins today. And this only continues the mass adoption that we have been seeing in cryptocurrency. And so we know that the president is very pro crypto. He is the only pro crypto president that we have ever seen. He has been doing so much when it comes to crypto. And as we could see, the president has an empire that could be worth around 1 billion. And so with this picture here on the right side, this was from earlier in the year when they did have their digital assets summit at the White House. And so this is just part of the pushing forward when it comes to the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. This big event earlier in the year was all about having a Bitcoin treasury with the White House, signing some executive orders to push us closer to that mass adoption. And so with that being said, this stock going public, crypto investors and those who did pay attention to the news have taken advantage of it, going up 500% just in the last week. And so again, myself, I have unfortunately missed out on this opportunity. I always try to keep my eyes peeled, but a lot going on. As you guys know, I run a business during the day, and just overall life has been very busy. So I did miss this opportunity, but I don't feel fear of missing out or fear, uncertainty, and doubt from not being invested, because I am happy what this bill represents. And I do believe that now that it has been passed through the Senate, it is going to be passed by the president and at the House as well. As all that is needed to finish this bill is the signatures from the president and then also the approval from the House. And so with that being said, I do believe that this bill will pass. I do believe there is still opportunity for investors to join in and make some return on investment from this play. Personally, I might do some day trading with it depending on where it opens up tomorrow. But myself, I am not feeling too much fear, uncertainty, and doubt or panic from not being involved, because there are always tons of opportunities in the market. And despite missing this opportunity, there will be much more. So if you do feel fear of missing out, just realize that with this play, if you are going to invest, you are investing into a price that is at $200. It was not long ago at 30. And overall, when you do look at the history, there is not really much there because it is an initial public offering. So not much to go off when it comes to the candlestick chart history. And then when we do look at the overall fundamentals of this company, they do have a high market cap at 32 billion. And so just the double opportunity to go from here, from 200 beyond, it would take a lot more money to pour in. Now, there is a lot of volume and momentum. So again, this could continue to soar, especially with this bill coming through to the White House. And so some big momentum when it comes to cryptocurrency, when it comes to stable coins. Myself, I am not panicking. I may take advantage of the momentum tomorrow if I do see the opportunity, but I am not going to be investing into this play overnight. And with that, now we're going to hop into the next stock, DJT. So Trump Media and Technology Group. And this is another company that is taking advantage of the mass adoption cryptocurrency. And so this stock right here, we have been following over the last year. And just when we look at the technical indicators, we could see that we are looking a bit oversold on every indicator. So when we look at the candlestick chart, we could see that currently we are trading under the 200-day moving average, and then underneath what I consider to be the floor for this stock, right around $21. So over the last year, we have seen the stock trade a lot higher than $21, but many times it did return back to this floor right around $21. It's currently trading a bit underneath that, and it does show when we look at the other indicators of the relative strength index and also the MACD. We could see that we are trading low there on the relative strength index and then also on the MACD as well. So just as an investor into DJT, I made my big investment here last year in September, right before we did have the big rip up. So I was investing right around $12. I haven't really touched my investments since then, but I have been holding my shares strong. But now seeing where we are at in the current spot, I may be adding to my DJT portfolio very soon. If not with shares, definitely with options contracts because it is building up to be a good opportunity. Looking oversold on all these indicators is a positive. And then again, the president is the most pro-crypto president of all time. We have never seen anything from the White House like we have seen with Trump. So we did have this big crypto summit earlier in the year, and this is where they talked about doing the Bitcoin treasury at the White House. And now the company DJT Trump Media and Technology Group is looking to do the exact same thing because they recently made the announcement that they are going to have a Bitcoin reserve. And so with that being said, this company is looking to purchase $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin going to be in the reserve of DJT. But with that being said, it does come with a bit of a negative catalyst, and that is going to be they are going to have to dilute shares a bit and offer more shares. So with this big purchase of Bitcoin, their funding is going to come from investors as they are going to issue up to, I believe, around 85 million new shares into the market. And so when we look at the shares outstanding right now at 277, so we will get 80 million plus added to that. And with that being said, there has been a drop off in the price in the short term, and the shorts have started to build up against DJT. So we are starting to see a high short interest in DJT again, up in the double digits at 15%. And so a potential squeeze opportunity coming very soon within DJT, especially when they make their big investment into Bitcoin, because that will then be on their balance sheet. And we will see that in future earnings with DJT. And overall, when it comes to cryptocurrency, this is part of the reason why I wore the Bitcoin tie today, because of the big news, but also because Bitcoin is my favorite cryptocurrency. And I'm very happy that DJT is taking advantage of that, because when we just talk about tokenomics, Bitcoin has the most powerful tokenomics. And over the course of the life of Bitcoin, it should only continue to increase in value, as it's one of the only currencies that can't be diluted. So we know with the US dollar, there could always be more US dollars printed, as well as all these other major global currencies. But with Bitcoin, there is set to be a hard cap of only 21 million Bitcoin ever created. And so in general, Bitcoin and the overall crypto market seeing a lot of momentum, especially with this news around Circle Internet Group. And so now we're going to hop into a stock that is a little bit out of the crypto sphere, but still a technology company that I see a lot of potential in. Favorite on this channel, this big guy, Mr. BigBearAi. And so Big Bear right now holding strong right around $4.01. And so the stock did hit its hit a resistance level today right around $4.30. It was rejected right at this level, did fall back down below 4 shortly, but then did find that support right back at $4. And so when we just zoom out and look at the long chart in BBAI, we could see that overall we have been on a pretty decent bullish trend within this company. So we are rising on this trend. We have been seeing higher highs set and higher lows, but it has been battling right around these resistance levels of right around $4.15, a major resistance level being $4.30, and then the top in the short term when it comes to resistance being right around $4.50. So in the short term, the highest we have seen is $4.50. And then when we look at the other indicators of the relative strength index and on the MACD, we could see that we are right in the middle on those indicators. So some opportunity for Big Bear to continue to run up, and not really much to talk about when it comes to news surrounding the Big Bear, but there was this, and that Big Bear has opened up another options chain when it comes to their options trading. So they did add August 15th. So some more opportunity for investors to hop into the Big Bear. And as many of you know on this channel, I am very bullish on Big Bear, and I love the options contract. So we're going to revisit an options contract that I talked about not long ago with Big Bear. And if you guys didn't check out the video about making 100% return on investment in options contracts, it is very possible. And so this is one of my plays right here that I foresee having a 100% return on investment and more. And so with this options contract right here, you could see that I picked it up for an average cost of around $1.79. Currently, the price sits at $1.20. But what is significant is when Big Bear reaches that break-even price, $4.30, which happens to be the level of resistance that was rejected today. Once it reaches 430 and goes beyond that, that is when these options contracts will start to have exponential return on investment and 100% gains, 100% return for every single dollar that the stock goes up. Because once you reach your break-even price on an options contract, every dollar the stock goes up, so does your options contract. And since I picked these up at just 79 cents, that is more than 100% return on investment. And so that is personally why I don't feel too much fear, uncertainty, and doubt when I miss out on opportunities like Circle Internet Group. Overall, I am actually very happy about the news around Circle Internet Group, and I think that is great that we are pushing more and more into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. So if you don't know about options contracts, I definitely suggest checking out that video from just a couple weeks ago, because there's a lot of valuable information on there. And with that video, it is free knowledge. So on this channel currently, I don't have any trading courses for sale, or I don't have any discords or for anywhere else for you guys to go off. So I literally do this just out of the love and passion for it, and I just enjoy sharing education and building a community. So please drop a comment in the section below. Also, please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I appreciate you guys all for being here again for another daily talk of stock, and I will see you in the next video.